Good evening, everyone. Welcome to North Decatur's Freshman Orientation. I am Barb Lecker, one of the guidance counselors here at the high school.
And I'm Jennifer Bowles, the other counselor at the high school.
And we are so thrilled that you're with us this evening. We are excited to present this orientation to you. We realize that these are tough times for all of us, and right now, doing this virtually is the only option that we have. So we're going to do our darndest to answer your questions, hopefully present a program this evening that kind of goes over all of the departments and the classes that are offered here at North Decatur, and also talk about diplomas and graduation pathways. We realize there will be lots of probably questions or things that you might think of along the way. So jot those down, and hopefully we might answer those as we go along this evening. We're hoping that your 8th graders are getting ready for high school. It's an exciting time for them, and I know they're probably anxious and wondering what next fall will be for them as they start here at North Decatur High School. The next several slides are going to be department slides with video links attached to them. We are going to view those as part of this program and presentation this evening, but at any time, even at the completion of this program, you can go back to view those videos if you need to see a specific department in more detail, or maybe get some additional questions offered or answered, excuse me. Right now, on your screen, you should see a list of all the departments that we have here at North Decatur. And some of these departments are the required courses, like many of us realize when we talk about English and language arts, or math, or science, or social studies. You'll see world languages on this screen, and that's our Spanish or foreign language department. You'll also see elective and pathway areas such as agriculture, business, engineering and technology, family and consumer science, and such. So we hope to be able to go through all of these this evening and answer any questions in those specific areas. First up, you're going to see a short video that's narrated by Mrs. Elizabeth Fry. She is the department head of the agriculture department. And her partner in crime is Mr. Tyler Johnson. He is part-time here at North Decatur and part-time at South Decatur, but this is a video for the agriculture department.
The Ag Department at North Decatur is comprised of Tyler Johnson and Elizabeth Fry. Together we teach a variety of classes. In your folders, there are a paper titled North Decatur Agriculture Scheduling Options. If you pull that out, you can see there are 2 options to choose from for the incoming freshmen. Option 1 is for students that are currently taking Introduction to Agriculture as an 8th grader. They now are allowed to choose from Animal Science, Landscape and Horticulture, Ag Business Management, Ag Power 1, or Ag Power 2. You are able to take Ag Power 2 before Ag Power 1. They do not depend on each other and can be taken in any order. Option 2 is for students who have not yet taken Introduction to Agriculture. They have the opportunity now to sign up. This will give them a taste of all sectors of agriculture, where they can then choose a class of interest the following year. We pride ourselves in the Ag Department for creating a very hands-on experience and very science-based for all of the Ag classes. Many of our classes complete a graduation pathway and allow students to earn free Ivy Tech dual credit. The classes that are currently dual credit are marked with a DC next to the class description. This also allows students to earn their technical honors diploma here at North Decatur. We also want to point out that a student must be enrolled in an agriculture class at the high school level to join FFA. We have a strong FFA program that helps prepare members for leadership and career success. We feel we are growing the next generation of leaders who will change the world. So please consider signing up for an agriculture class. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Mrs. Fry or Mr. Johnson. We look forward to seeing you in our class next year.
Okay. Any questions about the agriculture department? Again, Mrs. Fry or Mr. Johnson can answer those questions, or Mrs. Bowles here in the guidance office, and we will have some instructions a little later about how to get to our scheduling guide, where some of this will be in a little bit more detail. The next department we're going to talk about is the PLTW, Biomedical Sciences and Engineering. And the biomedical science we also refer to as our biomed course that goes to South Decatur. Many of you parents may know of a student that has had to come to school a little early in the morning. They get on a bus that transports them to South Decatur. They're down there every other day with our block scheduling for 2 periods, and they are transported back. At the same time, the South Decatur's high school, they are sending us their engineering students. And so they kind of meet on the bypass morning and evening, and we transfer those students back and forth. So we do have 2 short videos we would like to show you on Project Lead the Way and the Biomed program and the engineering program.
It's not sitting in front of the teacher and having to take notes the whole time. Your teacher will give you an assignment for the day or different projects to get done that week, and it's just a different type of class, and it's a different learning experience.
I think it introduces skills for all kids, whether they're really interested in medicine or where they're really just kind of checking out what's there.
With the normal classes, it's just focused on what you have to learn and what you need to learn, what they want to test you on. Whereas biomedical classes, they focus on what you want to do in the future, how to help you further on with your career, and it really gives you that head start that you need.
You get to become the doctor almost, and so you get to take the form of all these different doctors, and you really get to decide what you want to do with it.
You get to learn at whatever rate you feel comfortable with, and you get a full understanding of what you're doing by the time you're through.
All these courses are project activity based. They require students to problem solve, to think critically, to collaborate.
Project Lead the Way focuses most of its curriculum around case files, case briefs. In the first year, they follow one woman. In the second year, they follow a variety of scenarios. Third year, they follow a family.
More of a lab-based, a lot of lab experiences that most would not get until the college level.
We worked with kidneys and cow elbow, and we worked with sheep heart. And that's how I found out I wanted to go into cardiology. And a cow's eye, it was amazing. It's really, you don't get to see those things in normal classes. They're not given a textbook answer. There's not a textbook lab to follow. They really have to think of their own problems and their own solutions. Project Lead the Way's classes are a lot more in depth, and it's not so much cookie cutter. There's different things that can go wrong, and then you have to figure out, well, what makes it do this? And I really enjoy that kind of puzzle piece.
My experience has been great. I've loved my teachers, the classes, the labs and projects. I mean, everything about it's been amazing.
I just love it. I love the program. It's very hands-on, and it teaches us a lot about the things that we'll experience in the medical field.
And now we are going to show you our engineering video.
You get to build stuff, you get to do statistics. It helps me with math, science. I really like the brainstorming and the design process and the hands-on.
The teamwork, most of all, getting together in a group of 3, all of us pulling our own weight and coming together to create like an amazing project.
You get a really great idea of just in general how the world works. Like even if you're not planning to go into engineering, it gives you a great kind of insight as to how things work and why things are the way they are.
Our country needs more engineers. We need more technical people. Project Lead the Way allows us to start those people, those students on that path.
Learning problem-solving skills that Project Lead the Way curriculum teaches you is going to help you in whatever field that you go through.
We offer engineering for high school students. that it requires students to think critically, to problem solve, but also to learn critical skills that will give them the advantage in the marketplace.
I feel like I've learned a lot better teamwork skills from group projects.
A lot of hands-on projects, get to destroy it and then rebuild it.
The opportunities for these are amazing. There's so many different types of courses.
It gets you prepared and ready for college and then eventually for the real world.
You take the theory and you apply it with hands-on skills, and the students see the relationships and they grow from there.
They're more successful. It works.
My dad is an engineer, and he said that what we are doing in class is the basics of what he will do in his job.
It's the best package I've ever seen.
It is amazing. If you are interested in science, math, anything of that sort, it's definitely something you should take. It's a life-changing experience.
Okay, so we've just gone over the biomedical sciences video and the engineering video, and we're going to speak directly to the engineering classes that are offered here at North Decatur High School. In our curriculum guide, Mrs. Brandy Strand and Miss Christine Gross are the instructors for biomed at South Decatur, and you can see that beginning level of Intro to Biomed in the program. And it kind of gives you a class description as you move down through those. It's the same thing for engineering. Our students start out in our Introduction to Engineering course that's called Intro to IED and Design, and then Principles of Engineering, Digital Electronics, Civil Engineering, and Architecture. So we have our new cybersecurity room and department down at the end of the hallway in the northwest corner of the school, and it is absolutely phenomenal what they're able to offer down there and what they're doing. And one other thing we would just like to remind all 8th grade parents that starting, if you are in that engineering pathway and you're taking those engineering classes, your students are earning dual credit starting their freshman year with that IED class. So they can have dual credit all 4 years through high school, with the 3rd and 4th years being weighted, that goes toward their weighted GPA. So there's a lot of things going on in that department, and we just kind of wanted to let you know that, and also to let you know that Miss Allie Honeycutt is the instructor for the engineering classes, one of 2, and David Espenda is the other teacher that's involved in that program.
And with biomed, a difference with the two is there are no dual credits currently involved with biomedical sciences. So that is a difference between the two programs to be aware of when you're scheduling those courses.
The next department that we would like to go over is our English department, and there is no video associated with this department this evening, but all students in the freshman class will take English 9. That's pretty cut and dry. Obviously, across the board, all students have to have 4 years of English language arts through high school, but you will see on our screen that we've just kind of introduced that Miss Fritz is our English teacher in grades 9 and 10. Mrs. Helmick this year had one section of English 9, and then she was our junior English teacher with English 11 and the AP American Lit and Comp. And then Mrs. Laker teaches English 12 and dual credit English for seniors, which is dual credit through Ivy Tech, English 111 and 215. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to Mrs. Laker or Mrs. Bowles, and we can go over that in a little bit more detail. Our next department we have is the FACS department with Miss Burkett, and she has a short video that we're going to play at this time.
Hello, my name is Kelsey Burkett, and I teach Family and Consumer Science here at North Decatur. My classes take a very hands-on approach to learning that utilizes labs and projects combined with traditional learning methods. Nutrition and Wellness is a one-semester course or can be taken with Advanced Nutrition and Wellness to make a whole year. We complete labs every week in this course to practice food safety, sanitation, and preparation. We also study nutrition concepts throughout the course, such as nutrition labels and MyPlate. Advanced Life Science Foods is a whole year course that can count as a science or elective credit. We learn about food chemistry concepts through lab exploration and various other activities. Adult Roles and Responsibilities is a one-semester class. It will cover topics such as finances, interpersonal skills, and various other topics that will prepare students for adult life. Interpersonal Relationships is a one-semester class. It covers how to navigate relationships in all aspects of life. Human Development is a one-semester class. This is also a dual credit course through Ivy Tech. This course covers physical, social, emotional, and moral development and wellness across the lifespan. Child Development is a one-semester class or can be taken with Advanced Child Development to make a whole year. We cover development from conception through adolescence, as well as early childhood education and caregiving practices. This class is very project-centered. There is a handout that's been passed out in your folder that also goes into detail on these courses, as well as my contact information if you have any questions. Thank you. Hello, my name is Kelsey Burkett.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Kelsey Burkett.
Sorry about that. We had a little bit of computer difficulty there with the fact slide, but we're getting it under control on this end. So thanks for being patient with us. We're going to move on to the next department, which is Fine Arts. And we do have a video by Mr. Christopher Williams, who is the department chair in Fine Arts.
Hi, my name is Mr. Williams. I'm the Director of Bands here at North Decatur Junior Senior High School. I wanted to take a quick moment out of your freshman orientation to talk about some of the classes that the music program has to offer. As far as performance ensembles, we have our high school band, which is not open to any freshmen that haven't already been a part of band in the past or have not had experience in reading sheet music or playing an instrument. If you do have experience in both playing an instrument, owning an instrument, and reading sheet music, and you're interested in joining the band, please let me know. There are also extracurricular bands that are available to be a part of. We have the indoor percussion drumline, which again, it would be required that you are able to read sheet music, as well as our pep band, again, required that you are able to read sheet music. Our marching band, also the same, but you are not required to be in the band class to be a part of these extracurricular ensembles. As far as the choirs go, we have concert choir, which is our non-audition choir that's available to any freshman. And we also have our North Decatur Singers audition choir. This is a choir that you can audition for. You don't necessarily have to have experience, but you should at least be able to read sheet music and understand what you're doing when you have a piece of sheet music in front of you. The other class that we offer is AP Music Theory, Advanced Placement Music Theory. AP Music Theory is a college-level advanced placement course that looks into the construction of how and why music has the effect that it does on us. Music is really a lot of subjects all wrapped up into one. It's science, physics, biology, art, language art, and printed music specifically acts very similar to that of a foreign language, where some can read it, but not very many can understand it. In this class, we will be taking a language arts approach to music. When learning English for the first time, you heard it, then you spoke it, then you read it, and then you wrote it, you notated it. In AP Music Theory, we do all of the same as well. You'll have guided listening to music, writing music. You'll also be able to learn to notate audible music and be able to audiate notated music. So singing, being able to sight sing music by just looking at it. This class is not recommended for anyone if you have little or no knowledge of music or sheet music beforehand. Those who take this class should be familiar with music, sheet music notation, and should be willing to sing by yourself in a small classroom but low pressure environment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You'll see me around the hallways, or you can find me in room 710, the band room, before or after school. Normally get here around 7 a.m. and I leave usually sometime after 5 p.m. Every day. So feel free to find me if you have any questions. I hope the rest of your orientation goes great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williams, for that. We would also like to add, as part of this fine arts piece, is the introduction to 2 and 3D dimensional art. Is a class that Mr. Pat Haggerty offers that's also available for freshmen. And again, in the scheduling guide, we won't go into great detail in this video presentation this evening, but you will find other classes that students can take their sophomore, junior, and senior year in the fine arts department, including photography, ceramics, sculpture, that type of thing. Next, we have our physical education slides here. We do not have a video for this evening. Mr. Kyle Nobby is the department chair for physical education. He and Mr. Mitch Sefton are the 2 teachers there. And one thing that 8th grade parents need to know is that every student has to complete 2 semesters of PE in high school to graduate. And their courses are divided into 2 semesters, semester 1 and semester 2. And 75% of your grade is participation in class. And you will see on this slide that 20% is a skills test, and they're also a quarter of their grade, or 5% of the grade is also a written test. Some of the activities that they offer in this course, you'll see on this slide, is everything from flag football, softball, pickleball, floor hockey, safety training, and they're always adding to this curriculum. So this is obviously subject to change, but they do cover a lot of activities in PE. Mr. Sefton is also our health and wellness teacher, and you will see on this slide that all students are required to take 1 semester of health as part of their Core 40 graduation diploma, and it's usually taken their sophomore year, and it's paired up with preparing for college and careers. So all students are taking this, and it's automatically built in their schedules. But the next slide kind of goes over some different topics that they're covering, everything from intro to nutrition, which I know Mrs. Burkett just talked about things that they're doing in the FACS department, but mental health, CPR, human sexuality, and that type of thing. The mathematics department is our next slide here this evening. And just a reminder too, at any time you can go back and view these videos and click on the links in this presentation, but we're going to go over the math department now.
Crystal Ryan has been teaching since 2015. She is currently teaching 7th grade math in Project Lead the Way.
Erin Fee has been teaching since 2013. She teaches Math 8, Algebra 1, Math 10, Business Math, and AP Calculus.
Brenda Reed has been teaching since 1990. She teaches Algebra and Algebra Lab.
Madeline Childress has been teaching since 2018 and is currently teaching geometry and college and career readiness bridge.
David Espenda has been teaching since 2002. He teaches finite math, pre-calculus, and Project Lead the Way courses.
As you look at the math department brochure, remember that all students must take Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 to fulfill the Core 40 math requirements.
Math 10 and Algebra Lab are courses designed to reinforce concepts from Algebra 1 to prepare students for future math courses. Students will sign up for these courses at the recommendation of the math and guidance departments.
After these courses are completed, students will have the option to take CCR Bridge or the dual credit courses Finite Math and Pre-Calculus. AP Calculus must be taken after Pre-Calculus.
Okay, if there are any more questions about the math department, again, Mrs. Reed is the department chair for math, and she would be a great person to contact. But we can tell you this as guidance counselors, that freshman year, all students take Algebra 1 unless they took Algebra 1 in 8th grade for high school credit. And in that case, those students would go directly into geometry. So it's pretty easy to schedule this part of the program because every student starts out at that Algebra 1 level.
And some students will, in the 9th grade, also take Algebra 1 Lab, which goes along with algebra. It's an extra support period where they're with Miss Reed again, and she kind of goes over and helps the students to make sure they're understanding what they're doing in the regular class time. And generally, the math department gives us a list of the students they feel that needs that extra support. But if you feel your student might need that and maybe wasn't on the list, you can always reach out to us and we can explore that further with you.
Sorry about that. Next is going to be the science department when we can get this figured out here. Here we go. Mr. Brian Ingmeyer is our science department chair, and they have a great video they'd like to share with you at this time as well.
Science Department, Class of 2024 Freshman Orientation. Your Science Department staff. To satisfy science graduation requirements in the state of Indiana, you must earn 2 credits in Biology 1 and 2 credits in Chemistry 1 or Physics or Integrated Chemistry and Physics, plus 2 additional credits in a Core 40 Science. A credit is defined as passing 1 semester. If you hope to earn an academic or technical honors diploma, there are additional requirements that must be satisfied. Freshman year options include biology, integrated physics and chemistry, or earth-space science. Most of you will take biology. Some will take ICP or integrated chemistry and physics. Likely very few will take earth-space science. Your science pathways would look something like this. If in your freshman year you took biology during your sophomore year, you would pick one from chemistry, physics, earth-space science, or ICP. If during your freshman year you took either earth-space science or ICP, you must take biology your sophomore year. During your junior and senior year, many more options are available to you, and it largely depends on your previous choices, but those include chemistry, physics, earth-space science, and human anatomy, as well as advanced placement and or dual credit courses in biology, chemistry, and physics. Additionally, there are courses in the Project Lead the Way and Ag department that may be utilized to satisfy science graduation requirements. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mr. Ingmeyer.
And as you probably caught at the beginning, this video was from last year since it said cohort of 2024, but a lot of that information still remains the same.
Awesome. Next, we have our special education department, and so if you have a son or daughter that has an IEP, an individual education plan, or in need of any kind of assistance, these wonderful ladies on the screen would be there to assist in any way. They help us with small group instruction and co-teaching, and they work with all students. So if you have any questions about the special education department, please contact us and we will go over that with you. Next, we have the social studies department, and they're going to showcase their social studies teachers and course offerings at this time.
The social studies department is comprised of 4 social studies teachers. North Decatur alumni Mr. Metz teaches 7th grade social studies, focusing primarily on the Eastern Hemisphere. Additionally, Mr. Metz teaches junior high rotation classes and high school social studies classes that vary from world history to ethnic studies, Indiana studies, or topics in history often taken by freshmen and sophomores. In 8th grade, students cover U.S. history with Mr. Stern, from the time of Columbus exploring the New World through the Civil War and Reconstruction. Mr. Stern is also licensed in physical education and health. North Decatur alumni Mr. Rubel has numerous subjects on his teacher's license. such as world history, economics, macroeconomics, and psychology and sociology. World history can be elected as a course in either students' freshman or sophomore year and focuses on project-based learning modules. Econ students, made up of mostly seniors, look forward to their Shark Tank projects, and juniors and seniors in psychology and sociology spend time doing research and investigating different types of social changes. It won't be until students are in their junior and senior years when they will have Mrs. Littmer. Juniors can choose between General Survey U.S. History or AP U.S. History. When asked, many students agree they most look forward to learning how to swing dance during their junior year. Mrs. Littmer also teaches government, which is a required course for seniors. The course centers around the three branches of government where party politics is discussed, and activities such as the mock election, mock trial, and mock legislature, which includes a field trip to the State House, are highlights for students.
Okay, and like Mrs. Littmer says in the video, so freshman year, they could take world history their freshman or sophomore year, but social studies mainly would be like their junior and senior year, the required social studies courses. But again, you will be able to see this in the scheduling guide that we're getting ready to go over with you here shortly as well. World Languages is offered here at North Decatur. You'll see on the screen here that we have Spanish 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you're probably wondering how in the world we do 5 years of foreign language and 4 years of high school. Well, you're exactly right. We do offer Spanish 1 to our 8th grade students that meet the requirements and have the work ethic to be able to do that. So many of your students probably already have that Spanish 1 under their belt. So they'll be moving into Spanish 2, or they'll be starting that. So in order to get an academic honors diploma, you do have to have 3 years of foreign language that you've completed with a C or above. So, they will be offered dual credit in Spanish 3 and 4 when they're in high school. So we are really excited about this department. We have Mrs. Robbins and Miss O'Shaughnessy, who both teach Spanish for us. Mrs. Dawn Schwering is our business and computer science teacher. And this year she taught personal finance for us, intro to business, and a computer essentials course. And we're excited to see where our business department is going next year. And we'll be able to add some more classes with that, hopefully. Again, in your curriculum guide, you will see all of those classes available and all under the business cluster. So you'll be able to see that.
And then we also offer cybersecurity, which is the second year under that computer science program, and that's with Miss Honeycutt, who is also the engineering teacher.
The course scheduling guide here, you'll see that it says Scheduling Guide 2021. That actually is 21-22.
It is 2021.
This one is on that?
Oh, wait, no, it's the new one. The new one is on there.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh gosh. Yeah,
it's the new one is on there.
It's the 21-22 for next year that has any new classes and courses that we will be offering. And I'm going to kind of click on this here in this video just to kind of show you exactly what this looks like. This is also available on our school website under the guidance tab, and it is 50-some pages long. So we encourage you to kind of take a look at this and go over some of the details. I know here in a few minutes, Mrs. Bowles is going to go over with you some of the graduation pathways and stuff. I'm going to kind of scroll down here to the table of contents so you can see exactly what we see on our end and the career clusters. There's so much information in here that it's impossible in one video to roll all of this out. So we really encourage all parents to take a look at this.
Here is a copy of the schedule request form that your student will be receiving here in the next few days, and we ask that you get this back to us as soon as possible. We will meet with students and talk with them to work their way through this because we realize a lot of them will have some questions, but we wanted you to see a copy of it here so that you'll know that it's coming home and that you need to get that signed and back to us as soon as possible.
And I'm looking at that right here, and it looks like all of these will be due back to us on February 26th. So we'll also be going into their 8th grade classes to go over this, but we do require that all parents sign this, and then we are obviously available for any appointments that you might need to sit down one-on-one with us to discuss anything in your child's 4-year career plan.
You will also notice in that scheduling guide that there is a page that gives a sample schedule for your plan. So that might be something if you have questions that you refer to. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here for you guys. And again, the courses your child selects are going to depend a lot on what they've had in 8th grade and what their diploma type is, what their goals are. So it's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all, but there is a sample that we've put in here. Here it is. So here gives you an idea of what your student's freshman schedule might look like.
Scroll up just a little bit and see what page that's on. Oh. This is on page 20 of the scheduling guide. It starts there with your 4-year plans.
So that might be a good reference to go to if you have questions when you're filling out that schedule request form. Also, something you'll notice in Harmony, or you may have noticed already, is when you log into your student's Harmony or when they log into their own Harmony, there's a section called 4-year plan, and you can click on that and update your 4-year plan at home as well. When we go into the English classes, we'll show students how to do this and answer any questions they might have, and we will update this each year with them. This is actually where we pull their schedule request form from. So once we get these turned in, we will update that as well so it's reflected correctly in their 4-year plan.
Okay, for the class of 2025, their graduation requirements and graduation pathways. I'm going to let Mrs. Bowles describe this just a little bit to you and see if you have any questions about this.
So this is a fairly new concept, and we realize it can be very confusing and a lot to wrap your head around. So we expect there to be lots of questions, and we will help you each year to make sure your student is meeting all of these requirements. I definitely recommend using that scheduling guide because it goes into a lot of great detail about what all of these requirements are. So if you have further questions, you might start there and then see if those answer any of your questions. We're also happy to meet and answer questions as well. So with graduation, in the past, your student, all they had to do was earn their diploma, pass their courses, and then also pass the I-STEP. Now, the state has moved away from the I-STEP or from having a test that a student has to pass in order to graduate, and they've implemented what's called the graduation pathways. And this can get kind of confusing when you hear pathways because in my mind, I always thought of pathways as in like I'm on the engineering pathway or I'm on the biomed pathway. And this is separate from that. They do tie together a little bit, but it's easy to get those two confused. So in order for your student, your incoming freshman, to graduate, they must first meet their diploma requirements. And that can either be the Core 40, the academic honors, the technical honors, or both academic and technical honors. Those requirements have not changed. So that's still the same as what maybe an older student that you have, what they had to do in order to graduate. They also have to demonstrate employability skills, and we'll go into further detail how they can do that. And then they also have to complete one post-secondary ready competency, which there's a list of those that are available, and we'll go over those in greater detail throughout this presentation. So requirement number 1, bucket number 1 as we refer to it, the first thing they have to do is earn a diploma. And so the diplomas that are offered in the state of Indiana are the Core 40, academic honors, technical honors, or we have some students that complete both academic and technical honors.
And your children will be coming home, or your students will be coming home with paper copies of all of this that describes all of the different diplomas and requirements as well.
So the Core 40 requirements are listed on your screen there, and the student has to have 4 years or 8 credits of English language arts. They have to have 6 credits in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, plus either a math or quantitative reasoning course their senior year. They have to have 3 years or 6 credits in science, which must include biology,
chemistry, physics, or integrated chemistry, physics, and then any of the other Core 40 science courses that we offer. They have to have 6 credits or 3 years of social studies, which must include world history or geography, U.S. history, and U.S. government and economics. Then they must have 5 credits in directed electives, which include courses that fall under world language. So if your student takes Spanish, that counts there. Fine arts, or a career and technical course such as engineering, biomed, or agriculture. They must have a year of PE, like we mentioned earlier in the presentation, 1 semester of health, and then 6 other courses that come from other electives of their choosing. A student can also opt into pursuing an academic honors diploma. The requirements for this include all of those for the Core 40 diploma that we just went over in the previous slide, plus they must also earn an additional 2 Core 40 math credits. So a lot of our students will take either finite or pre-calculus to meet that requirement. This diploma requires foreign language, whereas the other one does not. So the student would have to have at least 3 years of Spanish. They have to have 2 credits or a year's worth of fine arts. So this could be if your student is in band or choir or any of the other intro to art classes, photography, courses of that nature. The student must have a B or better GPA by the time they graduate. So this is a 3.0 here at North Decatur. They must earn at least a C- or better in all the courses that count towards the diploma. And then they must also complete one of the following. So either taking 2 AP classes or taking 2 college classes where they're earning dual credit, or there's also some benchmark scores that they could get on the SAT or the ACT.
And one thing we like to point out to parents and students both is sometimes this looks overwhelming. It is a lot to wrap around. But just for example, like in G, completing one of the following, like Mrs. Bowles was just talking about the college credits. If they take senior English, the English 111, 215, they've automatically checked that one off as far as their dual credits. And sometimes they look at that and they get confused and think they have to take additional AP courses and that kind of thing. So there's some options here. We like to point that out that it's one of the following, not all of those.
Yes, and Spanish 3 is also a good example where most of our students get dual credit in that class, and you have to have at least 3 years of Spanish for this diploma. So a lot of them meet that requirement through that course as well. And then the last diploma option is the technical honors. Same with academic honors. This student has to complete all of the Core 40 requirements that were listed on that first slide. But in addition, this student would be somebody who takes either 6 credits in an ag class or engineering, or if that student goes and takes courses at C4, which is our vocational partnership, they would also be eligible potentially for this diploma. Same with academic honors. They do have those grade requirements where the student has to earn at least a C- or better in the courses that count towards this diploma, but graduate with a B GPA. So what I like to remind students is you can be an ABC student and get this diploma, but you have to get mostly A's and B's to end with that GPA that you need.
And the thing that we see most with the students here at North Decatur in technical honors, they're receiving that, like Mrs. Bowles said, through agriculture and engineering classes. So when we like to look at technical honors and students come in to ask, how can I earn both or what do I need to do? The easiest way in our building specifically is through those 2 different departments, agriculture and engineering.
And currently, biomed is not a course that would get you a technical honors diploma. Unfortunately, there's not any dual credit that's associated with that class, and that's a piece to earning the technical honors. But if that were to change, we would be sure and push that information out to you. Okay, so that's all bucket 1, which is just earning your diploma. Bucket 2, or requirement number 2, is demonstrating employability skills. So your student can do this in a few different ways. There's project-based learning experiences, service-based learning experiences, or work-based learning experiences. And we're going to dive into those a little bit more in depth here. So a project-based learning experience would be certain courses that we offer here at North Decatur. So an example would be if your student takes the engineering courses and takes digital electronics. That course has a capstone involved with it, which is a research project that they do. And so we would keep a copy of that, which demonstrates that project-based learning experience. Another option for fulfilling this requirement would be service-based learning experience. So for this requirement, a lot of students will do this by participating in volunteer or community service, or if they are engaged in a school-based activity such as an extracurricular activity or some kind of sport for at least one full academic year. And a lot of our students get this bucket by the service learning piece of this, because we have so many students active in extracurricular clubs and that ring bells. They're involved in FCCLA or SAD or Sunshine Society or something like that. So it seems like this one's a pretty easy one for our kids to get marked off their bucket. And then the third option for fulfilling bucket number 2 is by doing a work-based learning experience. So this could be done if your student participates in some kind of internship, if they obtain the governor's work ethics certificate through the school, or if they have some kind of employment outside of the school day. And how we document this, I'm going to go back to our course guide here that we've been talking about. We have some forms that are printed in here that your student would need to use, and they could complete this bucket either their freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior year. They just have to complete it once, so they don't have to do this every year. Just it's a one and done. So here's an example of our forms that we have students document. So if your student is somebody who participates in an athletic sport, if they are in a club or extracurricular activity, they will fill out this form here. They fill out the top part, and then their coach or sponsor signs it. They reflect a little bit on their experience, and then they turn that in to us here in the guidance office, and we sign it and put this away in their file. If your student participates in some kind of community service activity, then they would fill out this form. They fill out the top information here and have their supervisor sign. They reflect a little bit on it. They sign it and bring it back to the guidance office. This is the example of the employment verification form. So if they hold a job at some point while they're in high school, they'll want to fill this out, have their boss or supervisor sign it, reflect a little bit on their work experience, and then sign it and turn that in to us. So any of those forms would be how we would document this bucket completion. And I know this is so different for so many people and us parents, that as we reflect back over the years, with graduating with a Core 40 diploma and passing the I-STEP, and this is the part that is just extremely difficult sometimes to wrap your head around, that to graduate from high school now, you have to meet all 3 of these bucket requirements. So, please contact us with any questions on this. So in the back of your mind, if you could just kind of think, if your student participates in a sport, hey, I need to have them fill out this form. Or if they get a job, hey, we need to have your supervisor sign that. We also meet with students and remind them of this. So we're not going to let this go by the wayside. We'll make sure that they get things signed that they need. But if there's something you can think of that your student will most likely participate in the future when they're in high school, you might just keep this in the back of your mind. Bucket number 3, the last bucket that your student has to complete, is one of these post-secondary ready competencies. So they just have to do one of these. The first one is, if your student earns an academic or technical honors diploma, they automatically complete this requirement. So they're checking 2 buckets with one check. There's also a minimum ACT score or a minimum SAT score that they can earn. So if your student is a good test taker, somebody who would have passed that I-STEP, then they might look at taking the SAT or ACT to complete this requirement. Another option is to earn a minimum score on the ASVAB of a 31, and all of our juniors take the ASVAB here as a career readiness assessment, and so they will have a score for this through the school. Your student can earn a state or industry recognized credential or certification, which this primarily is done right now through C4. So if your student participates in a vocational program, they might be able to check this box. Fulfill a career technical education concentrator requirement. So this is where that pathway comes in that sometimes gets confused with the graduation requirements. So if a student completes 3 years, or they complete a pathway of engineering, or they complete a pathway of biomed, or they complete agriculture, and we'll go over these in more depth here in a minute, then they can mark this box. It's important to know that they have to have a C average in those career sequence courses, though. So they really need to make sure they're doing well in those courses. Or another option is to complete 3 or 2 AP classes or 3 dual credit courses. So that is worded a little wrong there. So it's either 2 AP or 3 dual credit courses. They must earn a C average or higher in those courses. Or they could complete a locally created pathway, which for us, we have a fine arts pathway that's listed in the career or the scheduling guide. So kind of to expand a little bit on bucket 3, because I realize that can be overwhelming to try to digest. Most of the students here complete that bucket by either earning an honors diploma, they get that minimum ASVAB score of a 31, they earn an industry certification at C4, they complete those concentrator courses, or through the AP and dual credit classes. So that one gets checked off pretty easily by one of those means. And to kind of elaborate on the pathways just a little bit more, the course, like here's an example. If your student takes Introduction to Agriculture and then they take Animal Science and ALS Animals, they would complete the animal career pathway. With engineering, if they take Intro to Engineering, Principles of Engineering, and Civil Engineering, then they complete the engineering pathway. And then same with Biomed Science, if they do Principles of Biomed, Human Body Systems, and then Biomedical Interventions, they would complete that pathway. And if you go to our course guide, we have some charts here that will help you navigate this. So here on page 14, we list the pathways that are offered here at the school and which courses your student would need to take. So you kind of want to look at what they're interested in doing after high school, what courses they want to explore a little bit more, and then try to find which pathway might fit those needs the best.
And you will also notice on that page that it gives you the school that it's offered, and you may see North Decatur, South Decatur, and C4 on there. And that is the career program over in Columbus that transportation is provided each day, junior and senior years, to complete those pathways.
Okay, so if your student is not able to complete bucket 3, if they've attempted at least 3 of those and they weren't successful in any of them, there is a waiver available for them, but they do have to at least attempt 3 of those. And these are the waiver requirements. Generally, we don't need to use a lot of waivers, so I'm not going to go into great detail on this because it'll affect very few of your families. But it's just important to kind of think about in the back of your head that 2 of the big criteria for qualifying for a waiver are a C average in your core classes and that your attendance rate average over those 4 years for your absences is 95%. So it's very important that your students are here at school. If they have to miss, make sure they've got a doctor's note or that you call in so that they're not unexcused absences and that they're keeping their grades for the most part above a C.
We want to dive just a little bit into 21st century scholars. So we're kind of changing gears on you just a little bit. And this is a program, and you'll see the eligibility requirements here on the screen, but you can only sign up for 21st century scholars your 7th or 8th grade year. So those eligibility requirements are listed on that application online link that we have there to the 21st Century Scholars Program. You'll see that there are income guidelines that you have to meet, but this program does help pay for tuition for students to attend an Indiana state school in the state of Indiana, obviously. So you can contact us for more information about this. Sometimes the 21st Century Scholar representative will come to these freshman orientation meetings and describe and maybe dive in a little deeper with some of this. But just know that to contact the guidance department if you have further questions. But the link and the application are listed right here on the screen.
And the deadline for that, I don't know if
Is
you mentioned
June
that.
30th,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. It's the end of 8th grade year by June 30th. So
Okay.
make sure you write that deadline down.
And, like junior high and high school parents ask us when to start planning for college and starting to look at preparing for those scholarships and that kind of stuff. But on this screen, we've just listed some ideas that we feel like we tell students in the 8th grade about creating a FastWeb account that's for scholarships, getting involved in school community activities, and keeping track of your activities, and start your resume in 9th grade. That will be a requirement. We guarantee it in some of those English classes. And then their senior year, when they're applying to colleges and applying for these scholarships, they have a list of everything that they've been involved in high school. Some things we like to mention here are about athletic teams going into high school. And here on this page, we have listed all of the programs that are currently offered. Mr. Scott Johnson is our athletic director, so he would be a great one to ask questions if you have anything about athletic eligibility, if you're transferring from another school into North Decatur, what that looks like. But we have all of the athletic teams listed here on this page. Again, we've listed clubs and activities. FFA, I think Mrs. Liz Fry mentioned a future, it used to be called Future Farmers of America, but it's just called the FFA. But SAD is Students Against Destructive Decisions. We have Sunshine Society, Future Christian Athletes, FCCLA, or Future Career of America, Art Club, Chess Club, Theater, Foreign Language, and a hiking club for our students.
So I think just to recap, because we've gone over a lot of information that I'm sure is leaving you with lots of questions, kind of where we're going to go from here is we'll present very similar information to your students in their 8th grade classes. So we'll go over that with them. They will get that scheduling form that we showed you a picture of earlier in the presentation that we will kind of help them fill out in class. We'll help them access their 4-year plan in Harmony in class so that they know how to do all of that. They will bring that form home, and then it'll be very important that you go over that, make sure you see what courses they're signing up for. You'll need to sign that, and they'll need to return that either to one of their 8th grade teachers or here to the guidance office, and then we'll start that scheduling process. Something you may want to do, or that I would definitely recommend doing, is if you can, maybe print this scheduling guide, even though it is almost 60 pages long. This is something you'll want to refer to every year when it comes to scheduling time and what your student needs. There's lots of really good information in here that we didn't go over for the sake of time. But as you can see here on this page, it breaks down those buckets that we just talked about for graduating. It's got all those forms that we talked about. It shows which classes are dual credit. If we scroll even further here to the bottom, there will be a list. These are all of the dual credit courses here. And then here's our AP courses and weighted courses. Again, that example of a 4-year plan, if you have questions about that. Here's a master list of all of the courses that we plan to offer next school year. And some of that, again, will depend on class sizes, depending on how many students say that they want to take each of those. And then if you have any further questions about what exactly is adult roles and responsibilities, for example, you can scroll on down and it gives you an explanation of what all is involved in that course. So this is a great resource if you have questions as you're starting the scheduling process to refer back to.
We thank you very much for your time this evening. And depending on the weather tomorrow, Mrs. Bowles and I will get together about a question and answer session if you need to call in to us. So we're available, and we'll push out a Zoom link or a Google Meet or something that you can connect with us. We would be more than happy to meet with you to go through any of this. You just tell us when and where, and we'll make it happen. So again, we thank you this evening, and thank you for your time. We know this is a lot to digest, and best wishes from the guidance department at North Decatur High School.